in fishing. The question of how prepared Yafi are to help them achieve their dreams was also raised.
If they're showing interest, that they are ready and willing to go, and beside that they're able to come up with certain hitches or hurdles that they feel that we should really take care of, we're definitely ready to take care of that. Like I said, His Excellency the President is a man of foresight. He has already set aside $39 million just to make sure that we use this fund to facilitate the youths to go back to the land and then to also venture into sea. So you will realize that at the end of the day we will organize them into structures and then give them that leverage to be able to access these funds. Probably that will help them to be able to take care of some of those things that they need in order to venture into sea and then to go back to the land.
The tour of fishing sites by Yafi continues in the Greater Banjul area. Reporting for Grts News, I am Abdullah Baji.
As this year's cropping season intensifies, officials of the Horticultural Technical Services Unit have been joining forces with their counterparts at the FAO to capacitize farmers in the interior. Part of this collaboration recently saw the distribution of vegetable seeds worth over $3 million and 18 metric tons of compound fertilizer to various gardening schemes in countrywide. Louis Mendy picks up the rest of that story in this report, courtesy of the Agricultural Communication, Extension and Education Services.
Actively involved in horticulture receive farming inputs valued at over $300,000 for increased agricultural production and productivity. The assistance was made available to them by the Food and Agriculture Organization in collaboration with the Horticultural Technical Service Unit of the Department of Agriculture. Delivering the vegetable seeds, the 18 metric tons of NPK compound fertilizer, and the 480 tons of urea to beneficiaries during the countrywide exercise. Dr. Babagana Amadi, the FAO country representative, said this office is only responding to government's requests for assistance following the 2011-2012 general crop failure brought about by erratic rains. The WHO country rep believed the assistance would contribute in a major way towards mitigating the impact of food shortages in households, thereby reducing cases of malnutrition. Mrs. Amifabure Damfa, the Deputy Director of the HTSU, challenged beneficiaries to take up vegetable production as a year-round engagement if they want to make substantial income from the business. Mrs. Fabure urged beneficiaries to loan themselves the farm inputs at affordable prices and later use the money as a revolving fund for the purpose of sustainability. Mrs. Fabure emphasized to beneficiaries the importance of the revolving scheme, arguing with the current global economic crunch and donor fatigue, assistance in the future will be minimal. For the beneficiaries, the assistance couldn't have come at a better time. The mood is that of joy. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
The Department of Agriculture informs the general public that His Excellency the President, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh, in his benevolence and drive to sustain self-reliant food and nutrition security, has secured mechanization equipment for the agriculture sector. A media release from the Office of the Director General of the Department of Agriculture says the services of the equipment are now available and that request forms can be concluded at the Regional Director's Office in Yundum. Request for services according to the dispatch must not be less than 1 hectare. Well, time now to take our first break. When we come back, we'll take a look at news from outside the Gambia. Stay tuned in.
Ghana's leading ICT company, assemblers of mobile phones and computers, is now in the Gambia too. We are happy to bring our services to the people of Gambia and look forward to lasting relationship with the state and its people. Come choose from RG's range of phones and computers and enjoy delightful after-sale service and the confidence of warranties that will keep your devices good as new. Visit RLG at 62 Caraba Avenue, Circular KSMD, opposite the Pipeline Mass, or check out rlggambia.com for more information.
RLG, proudly yours.
Welcome back to Grts News. The U.S. embassy closure across the Middle East is a cause for concern. U.S. officials intercepted a message from al-Qaeda's leader to operatives in Yemen. As Tom Foreman shows us, intercepting terror communication is not easy.
Leaders in far-flung corners of the earth need to talk with each other. They don't pick up the phone. Security analysts say they jump onto the internet using a complicated chain of computer connections. Although no one knows for sure, this is how they believe it works. The parties meet in a private internet chat room where they are extremely cautious, even shrouding their written communications with each other in encryption software, making it difficult to read what anyone is saying in one of these short meetings. Beyond that, they may even send proxies, deputies in a sense, to actually conduct the conversations so that at any given moment, none of the leaders can actually be connected to each other or to whatever is being orchestrated. But it goes even further. Instructions from top al-Qaeda operatives are believed to sometimes be sent by trusted couriers to internet cafes where they log onto public computers, they encrypt the message as they type it, and then they send it through an email account set up specifically for that one message and no other. And minutes later, the whole trail disappears. Some security analysts say this combination of technology, social media sites, and internet anonymity is the backbone of terrorist communications. And Laith Al-Khoury with Flashpoint Global Partners says it works remarkably well.
I think they allow such groups to flourish, and they certainly give the means for possible lone wolves to communicate with actual group and or offer themselves as potential terrorists.
Need proof? Prosecutors say the men accused of the Boston bombings used jihadi websites for inspiration and bomb-building advice. Security analysts say Anwar al-Awlaki exchanged emails with the accused Fort Hood shooter Nidal Hassan, and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed is believed to have used a Hotmail account.
Al-Qaeda started with one website a decade ago, and today we have at least a dozen Al-Qaeda web forums that host thousands of individuals.
A few years back, when the hunt for Osama bin Laden was still raging, some intelligence forces believed Al-Qaeda was even developing its own intranet that was electronically hidden behind some jihadi websites and accessible only to a few people. Whether they succeeded or such a system still exists, like much of their communication structure, remains shrouded in mystery. Tom Foreman, CNN, Washington.
Well, meanwhile, the U.S. State Department is evacuating most of its diplomats from Lahore, Pakistan's second-largest city. The order was made on Thursday after the State Department picked on what it calls specific threats. It's not clear if the evacuation is related to an ongoing terror threat that shut other U.S. missions in the Middle East. The threat is centered in Yemen, with drone strikes intensifying. CNN's Mohammed Jamjoon has the latest.
3-4 days is just unprecedented, even at a time when the U.S. and Yemen have stepped up their counterterrorism measures and drone strikes have been increasing incrementally over the last couple of years. We're talking about over the last 3 successive days, there were drone strikes. Yesterday alone, 3 separate U.S. drone strikes, as we're told by Yemeni officials. And let's look at this map here to show you some of the provinces we're talking about. Now, there was a drone strike that happened in Madib province. Madib province houses the country's main oil pipeline. It's the part of the country where just 2 nights ago there was a Yemeni military helicopter that was shot down. Officials told us they believed AQAP was behind that attack. Also yesterday, 2 separate drone strikes at different times in Hadramaut province. Now, both these provinces have always been hotbeds for militants, and Yemen is a country where Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, which is the most dangerous wing of Al-Qaeda, has really been able to thrive. It's a country where there are porous borders with rough mountainous terrain where Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula can very easily hide out. And this is a country with a very weak central government. But what's happening now, more than ever, really highlighting the threat level in in Yemen, the concerns by the U.S., by the Britons, by the Saudis, and by the Yemenis as to how much they believe al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula will be able to possibly carry out an attack. Christy?
Authorities in Canada